You and me together into the world.
How are you guys?
Hey,
Good,
man.
thanks. I'm enjoying your background.
Right, we're observing what's going on.
Thank you. It's kind of a mess. It's kind of cluttered, but I kind of like it. It makes me feel at
Love
home.
it. I love the clutter.
Yeah.
Love me
Well,
some
Yeah.
guys, and Jamie, good to see you, by the way, again. And
See you.
saw you Surrounded. You did two of my favorite
Oh,
films.
right, yeah.
This is a fantastic film. I want to know, as a film goer going into it and seeing something completely different that I had no idea where it was going and excited to see where it went. What was it like for you guys to look at Andrew's script and go, oh, this is what we're doing here?
Yeah. I never really knew what we were doing. I mean, the script, all the scenes were incredibly visceral and truthful and honest, but I feel like when it came to like I don't know whether it was genre, whether it, like this like weirdly supernatural thing that was going on, I felt like I just trusted that he was going to make the right choice with that. I never really knew what we would appear like, how it would read.
The spectral stuff, you mean?
Yeah,
right, yeah.
That's the good spectral.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that. It's going to make me sound intelligent.
No, but I agree. I mean, the script isn't interested in that stuff. So I felt like as I was reading the script, I was like, his parents, he's this impossible feat of seeing his parents who died when he was 12 years old, and now suddenly they're there, and they're living flesh, and they're real people. And then the script you read that part, and you go, okay, he's going to move on from there, and then you're going to never really question it again. I think that's kind of true with the film too. He's so disinterested in kind of establishing any sense of rules, because that's not what's important for the character, really. The importance for the character is connection and understanding and getting this unbelievable opportunity to kind of revisit some things. So, once I don't know, none of it felt like hurdles in any way. It was just kind of, none of it was difficult to wrap my head around. It kind of read really easily, actually.
And I love the ambiguity of it. Like I love the fact that it's not tied up in a bow and it's like, we have to now explain this to you as what's happened. I love the ending of the film, which obviously I don't want to give away, but you're a bit like, whoa, what? What? So what does that, what? And then it continues to be slightly confusing and you're questioning yourself. But then the end of the film is so hopeful and sort of alive and human that you're like, okay. And then it makes you go, well, maybe it doesn't matter that I don't really know what happened there, or whether it was just all a tale. You know what I mean? Like it was all just a story that was being told. Yeah, I like it. I like when things aren't easily, in a nutshell, that's the end of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like too often in when you go to the cinema, you get exactly what you know what you're going to get, and that I think that gets kind of boring after a while. I want to talk a little bit about the way you guys played these characters. This is really, there's a couple of scenes, and I don't want to give anything away like you, but there are moments. Clara, I want to, with you find out something about your son. Jamie, you reveal how you feel about him in some ways. These are very real emotional moments for parents that do not get talked about ever, really. What was the discussions like, or was there even discussion? Did you just kind of find the niche with it relating to this guy Andrew and the character, and playing his parents who are just, I don't know what's going on either.
I kind of disagree. I kind of feel like these things are talked about a lot. They're just not observed as well as this. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
I feel
that's
like
fair.
it's not. It's just
Well
like it hasn't been as adeptly understood by somebody before, and been able to be explained so eloquently and confusingly and touchingly. It feels like people attempting connection and maybe failing sometimes, or kind of wanting to say the right thing and kind of not quite getting it right. And I think through that confusion and the messiness of it is what gives the film the real power. It's what gives the scenes real credibilities, because we're messy as human beings. We're often saying something and meaning something else, or where there's a duality most of the time in everything that we're doing. And I think that's what Andrew's been so brilliantly been able to and very personally been able to articulate for people and give them that sense of reality. Like, it might not be a perfect thing, but the imperfectness of it is kind of what makes it so touching.
Yeah, it's not a cliche.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
No,
not-
that
And I think that, like in the scene in particular, where I suppose you would call it a coming out scene, but I remember very clearly that Andrew Scott was like, I don't want this to be a coming out scene. This man is coming into this knowing who he is, having lived in his own skin for, 40 odd years. He doesn't have to explain himself to anyone. And that was a really interesting concept to me, and also something I really appreciated, that I got to be part of that this wasn't a scene which was going to be predictable or a cliche. It was going to be a scene that would be knotty and complicated, and both characters were coming at it from a different point of view. One of the people in that scene is learning something for the first time. Like, that's drama. That's what, is theatrical about anything that you watch, is that you see someone. That's why documentaries are so good. It's the reaction that's the most interesting part of both of those people reacting to each other, going, but you're, and I, oh, and and yeah, it's not what we've seen before. Basically, I feel like it's really trying to be honest about what we do and don't do as human beings.
Well, forgive me for being very complimentary, but that was really brilliantly done.
Thanks.
But because, like you said, I think oftentimes movies personify the drama, like make things so big, and there's such a grounded nature to this story, even in the most challenging moments, even in the most complex. What does Andrew like to work as a director? I mean, this is just a really, really interesting film. I can't praise it enough.
Yeah, he's an interesting like he's a real person. He's not like a big shouty, screamy director who is in it for his ego or, to have ultimate power over an artistic thing. Like, he is in it. He's curious and kind and very, very funny, and has a sense of humor, which means that it's so easy to not be precious.
He's also honest, right? I mean, he's honest in the sense of, like,
He is.
this might not work. This could be ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, and I love that about it, because he's throwing all of himself into it, and just, he's willing to see, and he's willing to be wrong, and I think I would do anything for Andrew Haigh.
Oh, me too. A friend of mine, Tom, who was in The Weekend, his film, has basically, before I did this film, had spoken about the experience of doing that with Andrew, and he said he's basically been chasing that experience his whole career. He's been trying to get back to being in a room with a director who listens to you and pushes you, but in a very gentle way, and who is only ever trying to do the thing that feels right, as opposed to, it is watching what you're doing. He's like genuinely interested in what the actor's doing, and he's never had that experience again, and that's what the sort of director he is. He's just so brilliant and a real person, and that's nice.
Well, and Jamie, with you, it was so fun to see. Well, this really goes for both of you. I felt very much like I saw shades of my parents in what you guys did, because growing up in that same area. Did you feel going in? Did you think, oh, this is kind of how my parent would react, or this is how my dad or my mom? Was there any personalization at all for you in the performances?
I mean, I think it's impossible not to bring that stuff. I think it's just. I think the hope was not to burden the movie with your own stuff too much, because the script really did speak for itself in terms of just how well realized those relationships were. But I certainly did, and a lot of the films I've done in my career are often kind of parent-child centric. It's usually some discussion of parental dysfunction, or the character's somehow orphaned a lot of the time, or it's about fathers and sons so much of the stuff. So I grew up without a father, right? So my entire life I've been kind of searching this scene. So I have a dad to kind of sit down and say, sorry, son. So of course, like, inevitably that's going to come back to me in some way. It's inevitable. So the getting to do this scene in some ways is therapeutic for me. I hope it's therapeutic for other people, and that they can take, if they had complicated relationships with their father and mum. So I don't know. It would be impossible to go into this and not bring something of yourself. I think that was the mission statement was Andrew welcomed that and wanted it, I think.
Well, guys, we got to wrap it. That was an absolute joy.
Dad! Sorry, don't want to. I'm burdening you.
sorry,
with
I'm
bullshit. Sorry.
It's not bullshit.
Jamie, thank you for sharing that. That was really lovely.
No,
I
listen,
know.
my pleasure. An open move.
What a guy.
Guys,
What
it
a
was an
guy.
absolute. I love this. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thanks, man.
much.